All right, so Ovations started over 20 years ago in the enterprise content management domain and quickly realized the value of streamlining business processes. We built a strong competency in financial services, winning top BPM awards. We've enabled many customers over the years, predominantly in South Africa, across various industries, but most significantly financial services, insurance, and recently also retail. We have quite a broad base of experience with knowledgeable people. So I hope a session like today can help you make a decision on where you need to go next in your digital enablement journey. We drive business strategy and change and believe the alignment of technology and process with your people is paramount. What's our formula for success? At Ovations, we ensure that excellence and enablement are at the core of everything we do and in every member of our team. We are technology agnostic and have strategic partnerships, which you can see there on the slide, across quite a broad partner base. At Ovations, our goal is always to add value to your organization and position you to leap ahead of the competition. We can provide the blueprint to support your digital enterprise through our specialist value propositions. So if you look there towards the left, I'll start with content services and then moving clockwise, data and analytics, process automation, and fighting financial crimes. The adoption of modern IT architectures allows your company to be agile in today's highly competitive digital and often global markets. Content features high on this digital agenda. Firstly, because content is central to most business processes, and secondly, because content is a rich and largely untapped source of valuable insights. The webinar today falls into our content services offering. We enable on-premise and hybrid cloud services to manage content, regardless of your source repository. Our offering also includes intelligent functions to analyze and streamline the delivery of your content. We deliver this through strategic advisory and resourcing, bespoke development, and support and maintenance. So to get right on to today's webinar, today is about protecting your Filenet platform from compliance exposure. So Roland from Cenit is going to be taking us through this. I'd like to just introduce you and give you some idea of his background. In 1997, Roland joined Cenit, one of the first Filenet partners in Europe. His current role is International Sales Manager in the Enterprise Information Management Unit, with a main focus on Cenit solutions complementing Filenet, Content Manager on Demand, and IBM Cloud Pak for business automation. These solutions are designed to improve the service quality of the business automation platform through application-specific health monitoring and to reduce compliance exposure of Filenet through active retention management. So I'll hand over to you now, Roland.
Thank you. All right, so let me just switch off my camera as well so people don't get distracted. And share my screen. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because of Microsoft Teams, when I'm in a presenter mode, I don't see the chat. So if there should be any questions in the chat, please just let me know.
Will do.
All right, good morning everybody and greetings from rainy Germany. Even though that you have winter and we have summer, I guess in South Africa it's warmer and more sunny than here, but we have to live with what we have. All right, so in this session we will discuss the impact of data protection regulations on your Filenet repository and how you can address these challenges. So it's really about making your Filenet system bulletproof regarding compliance exposure and reduced risk that is sitting in the documents in your final repository. It's really about protecting your final platform from that compliance exposure and protecting your documents from being deleted if they should not be deleted, or from being kept when they should be deleted. So really finding the balance between having as many documents as you need and getting rid of what you no longer need or what could be considered as a risk. So at the end of the day, it's really about protecting your peace of mind. Why is this important? Well, in South Africa, you have your Protection of Personal Information Act, POPI Act, which imposes a lot of regulations regarding how long to keep or how to keep personal data of citizens in South Africa. So that addresses, of course, also the documents in the final repository which contain personal data. And it's not just in South Africa with the POPI Act. There are other regulations like the GDPR in the European Union or the California Consumer Privacy Act in the US, for example. And to make things worse, these privacy acts often are extraterritorial. So if you are a company like, for example, an insurance company or a financial services provider in South Africa, and you have clients which reside in the European Union or in the US, you fall under POPI Act, you fall under GDPR, and you fall under CCPA, because the latter two privacy acts are extraterritorial. No matter where a company resides, they have to follow these rules, and not following them can be very costly. So it's really important to address that and make sure that in your final repository, you have only those documents that you are supposed to have. In the POPI Act, there are especially two sections which have an impact on the documents in the final systems. There's Section 5 that grants the data subjects the right of deletion of their personal data upon request, and the Section 14 that limits the duration of keeping the records, which requires an active retention management because, as I said, the documents in the final repository contain personal data, personal information, so they fall under these regulations. This results in several challenges. For the business units, they need to have an understanding of the retentions of their documents stored in the Filenet system. They need transparency and they need to know the relevance of the documents. To minimize errors and efforts, they need easy to handle and efficient processes for the approvals of deletions, for example, for the deletions themselves, but also for holds related to documents with personal data. So the business unit managers are concerned about risk and productivity. The challenge of legal and the data protection officer, of course, is to reduce compliance exposure. So they need to help the business in establishing these waterproof processes to delete the documents that must be deleted and keep the documents that must be kept for other regulation reasons, for example. And that in a way that is auditable, so they can respond to inquiries from authorities, for example. They can prove that they're complying with the regulations. So the main concern for legal and the DPO is really risk. The Filenet team suffers from a lack of reporting and has difficulties in setting up the retention processes that the business users themselves should be able to handle in Content Navigator. So it should not be the Filenet administrators always taking care of deleting documents or protecting documents. That should be done by the business users themselves because they know the relevance of the documents. So their concerns are really to reduce complexity and the administration efforts, but also reduce storage costs by getting rid of irrelevant content in their Filenet P8 system. Filenet P8 itself provides basic retention management functionality. However, it is limited regarding the settings and the handling, in particular with regard to the reporting and the approval processes. There's an alternative, which is IBM Enterprise Records, which provides a full-blown records management across the entire enterprise, a really powerful solution, but comes with high complexity and costs. So what can you do if you just want to focus on your Filenet system? The answer to this challenge is the Cenit retention solution, which complements the basic retention functionality of Filenet. Reports provide you an overview of all the documents to be deleted and their retention settings. And the retention periods can be automatically assigned based on events. For example, if you're archiving contracts or invoices. Critical documents can be deleted only after the appropriate approval. So documents not to be deleted can get a new retention date or can be protected by holds if they are not allowed to be deleted. The deletion itself is executed in a controlled and secure manner, either manually or in automated batches. All the deletions and the modifications are logged for auditing purposes, so you can always prove what has been done. The knowledge workers can handle these processes themselves, working directly in the Content Navigator UI. So for them, it's very easy and intuitive. The reporting provides the transparency about the documents due and their retention settings. They can be configured, for example, by object class or storage area or document properties. The scheduled reports then will be automatically sent to the relevant users, for example, as a daily manifest to data stewards or the data protection officer. The assignment of the retention periods can be based on events, which can be defined by multiple criteria. If a specific event has occurred for a document or a folder, the retention solution will automatically assign the retention period defined for this event. This reduces the efforts for the worker and makes it less error-prone, which reduces risk. An example would be a contract that automatically gets a retention period assigned when the document status is changed to archived. To protect documents from deletion, or for example from accidental deletion, you can define mandatory approval processes. These approvals are also configurable, for example based on 4 eyes, and get executed in batches to reduce the efforts for the workers. The user would receive a list of his documents due and then can do random checks if they want. Documents that get approved then will be deleted. The deletion also can be denied, then a new retention period will be assigned. Alternatively, the user could apply a hold to protect the document even beyond its retention date. Documents whose retention period has expired can be deleted automatically without a separate approval process. So if it's no-risk documents, for example, the deletion again is done in batches with a configurable schedule, or the document's retention period will be extended automatically, also in batches. For auditability, as I said, all deletions and modifications are logged in the audit trail. Holds enable you to prevent the deletion of documents even when the retention period has expired, because they're still needed, for example, to protect evidence for litigation or audits from accidental deletion. And that makes sure that no one is deleting these documents and is increasing the risk in the litigation. The workers can create and delete the holds directly in the Content Navigator UI. And the holds then can be applied manually or automatically in batches. The criteria for the automatic holds are also configurable. The Cenit retention solution complements Filenet P8 Content Manager and Content Navigator. A plugin in Content Navigator provides the front-end services to the users, so its handling is very easy and intuitive. They already know how to work with Content Navigator. The background processing in Filenet P8 is controlled and executed by the Cenit Service Manager and integration solution, which is part of the retention solution. So it's a very pragmatic approach, easy to implement. At the end of the day, it's really about getting peace of mind for all the stakeholders. So the business units, they get consistent processes for their workers and an efficient and less error-prone way to handle their documents in Filenet that contain personal data. That addresses their concerns about risk and productivity. Having transparency, control, and auditability reduces the compliance exposure, mitigating risk and avoiding the heavy fines coming with compliance breaches, especially in the light of GDPR. Legal and the data protection officer have less to worry about, basically. And the Filenet team gets a solution that gives them insight, and a solution that is easy to implement and to manage. and a solution that helps them getting rid of content no longer needed in Filenet. This reduces complexity and costs. So at the end of the day, the Cenit retention solution really gives peace of mind to all of us. We are currently finalizing the implementation of the retention solution at the European subsidiary of an Asian insurer. As they operate across Europe, they fall under GDPR, so they have to actively manage their document retentions. Well, why did they choose the Cenit retention solution? They wanted a solution that can be used by the business users directly in Content Navigator. They wanted a standard solution that is easy to implement and to maintain. And they did not want to reinvent the wheel. It's really a pragmatic approach. The implementation of a retention solution is part of a larger project. To keep complexity and efforts low, we conducted an exemplary implementation in the finance, claims, and underwriting units. In the design phase, we work with the Filenet team, the business units, and the data protection officer. So all the stakeholders involved were providing their input for the design phase. The benefits they want to achieve are reductions in cost and risk due to better transparency and control in the retention management. Go live is planned for the summer, so they can reap the benefits soon. Ovations and Cenit offer quick start packages that allow realizing quick wins. These packages contain the software needed and the services to get you ready for production. This statement is a perfect summary of why you need the retention solution for your final repository. Compliance is not a nice to have, it's a must.